365 cut. These are the meaningless ramblings of a Scottish we-done whore and a pissy ex-video store clerk. Their ongoing mission is to set right the movie wrongs. They're gonna need a bigger podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 365 Flicks podcast. We are back for you with another indie talk. This one is a very special episode. We're talking werewolves.
Werewolves?
Werewolves?
When did we do this?
I don't know, about 3 years ago.
Yeah, I kind of...
Yeah, Mark is fine. We're speaking to a writer and director and werewolf enthusiast called Mark Brown from America.
Mm-hmm.
He is a friend of Dave Hastings,
Yes.
and I got in touch with him on the Facebooks and started speaking about his baby.
Yeah, we're speaking to a lot of people with babies right now, with passion projects, which is a good thing. That's what the show is all about. It's what indie talk's all about.
No passion whatsoever about anything.
No, which it shows that we're trying to ignite some passion in ourselves. Yeah, we've got no passion whatsoever. Yeah.
So, Mark's movie is Mark of the Wolf, not named after himself.
No,
that would be pretentious or anything.
it would be a little bit.
No, Mark loves himself some werewolves. He loves himself some practical effects.
Yeah, that's what he was all about, was the practicals.
We love that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they don't do it enough nowadays. It's all this CGI Twilight werewolfy sparkly zombie like bollocks.
No, we like what Mark's all about. He certainly has a lot of passion for the project. Can't wait to see what he's been coming up with. I know that he's got an Indiegogo page on the go, which he talks about on the episode.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Certainly go and have a look on the Indiegogos for Mark of the Wolf. It might be Mark of the Wolf series. I am not sure, but if you type in Mark of the Wolf, you will certainly find it. Have a look on the Facebook page, which is Mark of the Wolf, funnily enough.
Well, that's what it says on the tin.
Exactly. But yeah, great guy, great speaking to him, so we will not waste any more time.
But no, we will waste a moment, because we are going to waste a moment. Because you've got some pimpage to do.
Oh, fuck.
We can't do an episode and not have some pimpage. Come on, do the raw.
Alright, okay.
Do the raw.
Right.
Where can people find us, Chris?
I was sober the last time.
By the way, you are Chris the Scottish Weed Whore. I'm Kevin the Pizzy X Videos. Just so people can put a name to the voices, because we forgot to do it.
We did,
and we've been so fucking good at that recently.
Have we though?
No. Anyway, do the raw.
Okay.
Do the raw.
Okay. We are the 365 Flicks podcast, Kevin.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. People can find us on the Facebooks and the Twitters if they have a search for 365 Flicks podcast. Have a look for us on our awesome website, www.365flickspodcast.co.uk.
It's a shiny website.
It is a shiny website.
It's a good website.
Yep.
The railing, you know.
Don't. Because I went to pieces last time.
I know you did.
I'm going to do that now. Have a look for us on the iTunes, and don't forget, because I always forget to say this, don't forget to leave a review. We want a 5-star.
Yeah, man, leave a review. 5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars. 5 stars. Fuck your 4 stars. Fuck your 3 stars. We want 5 stars.
We will accept a 4-star, but we love a 5-star. Can we say that?
5 stars. I want 5 stars.
Or do us a favour. If you're going to leave us a shit review, which we totally endorse as well, if you want to leave us a crap review, still give us the 5 stars, but you take the moral high ground in giving us a shit review. So yeah, but still give us 5.
Give us 5. I don't want the 1-star reviews.
No. 1 doesn't look good. 1 star where the comment says these guys are awesome doesn't count. But a 5-star where it says these guys are shit counts.
Anyway. Also have a look for us on the satchels and the stitchers if that's what you're about.
If you've got an Android.
Or if you've got an Android, you can download a podcast app and have a look for us on any of those, more or less. Yeah. All the good ones, anyway. We're also on a couple of cheeky networks. We are on the Tangible Network, the Wicked Radio Network, Weeby Geeks, our British home, the awesome nerdly.co.uk.
Nerdly is awesome.
And on the Twitters, we are on #PodernFamily.
And to be fair, Nerdly, Phil over at Nerdly, give me them Blu-rays. Because I don't know when this episode's going to drop, but there's a competition on the go right now, and I feel we put a hell of a lot of work into Nerdly, more than most. Well, more than
you
Phil.
do.
More than Phil, I would say. So I want them Blu-rays, please. Thank you. If I happen to win them in the competition, I would be very appreciative. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Don't say fix, because we don't say fix.
No.
But this episode is Mark of the Wolf. We are about to speak to Mark Brown, the man behind the movie. And yeah.
You didn't give me props for not fucking up the pitch, though.
I tried to derail you, though.
It was better than last time.
It was better than last time.
'Cause I completely
Just
went
think,
to
though,
pieces last time.
right? We're doing this intro now. We're about to record a proper episode now in a minute. And I'm going to ask you to do the pimpage
Yeah,
again.
no, I'm going to make a complete arse of it as
Yeah.
well.
So
Awesome.
tune in for that.
Something to look forward to.
Get in. Interview already in progress.
Crisis for the geek kind. Top geek officials admit they underestimated the hipsters' defense capability. Join the geek revolution and save the galaxy. Geeks from all over the globe are joining up to fight for the future. They're doing their part. Are you? Want to know more? Join Weeby Geeks and the Geek Revolution and save the world. Service guarantees citizenship. Listen to Weeby Geeks podcast on iTunes and Stitcher or online at WeebyGeeks.net. Weeby Geeks, your voice for the Geek Revolution. Want to know more?
Alright, okay, so we are right now joined by Mark Brown, who is here to talk about his project, his passion project even,
Yeah.
Mark of the Wolf. Mark, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine, guys. How you guys doing?
Awesome, we are doing very well. Very, very well.
Not bad, man. It's a bit different from our last indie talk when it was raining outside. We are sweltering in the studio
Yeah, it's
tonight.
for a change in Britain, the sun is actually out. And we're sat in the studio is a sort of insulated shed, and we're both sat sweating like crazy, so we might pass out halfway through the interview.
No worries.
we'll try and do our best.
It'll be fine. So Mark is the founder and head writer of Mark One Films, which that's pretty interesting, Mark.
Yeah, it is. It's a little one-man show. Got a few of my friends helping me out.
Yeah.
For various projects, but yeah.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So you founded that in 2008, I saw. It said I was looking on the Mark One Films Facebook page earlier on today, and it said that you've worked with a few independent film companies in the US and Canada and here in Britain. So, can you tell us anything about any of the projects that you've worked on in the past?
Yeah, I worked with a couple of guys over in your neck of the woods. Tony Gardner. I don't know if you're familiar with his work from Dense Fear and Dense Fear Bloodline and some other indie projects. Me and him worked on an episode for the Mark of the Wolf series, which was great and was well received. And also worked with a few other guys here in the States on little odds and ends projects. Little low-budget films like Tetherball, I worked on with one. Another story that I wrote with a friend of mine, Vanishing Act, which was the first Mark One film that I did. It was a co-effort with me and him. Chase Langley was his name, and we just started to build from there.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, I mean, have you been steadily busy since 2008 with Mark One Films, or?
I work off and on when I can, just coming up with story ideas and things of that nature. Just like, it's not like full-time filmmaking, which I would love to do.
Yeah.
But there's, things like, job, paying the bills, and doing other things on other projects. But yeah, I always liked to do stuff like this, like writing and filmmaking and working on stuff like this. So this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're very familiar with that feeling, because we'd love to do this full time, but
Yeah.
Commitments and rent
Yeah.
gets in the way of everything
Yeah.
like that. We've often said well, wouldn't it be nice if we had a shit ton of money and no responsibilities? But there you go. That's just one of those things. So one of the projects that you're working on are going to be bringing out in 2017 is The Loner. And that's a prologue to Mark of the Wolf, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. I watched the teaser for that earlier on today, and it actually looks really interesting. So what can you tell us about the Loner short film then?
Yeah, well, Loner is pretty much a part of the series. It's like a series of short films that's associated with Mark the Wolf, and it's a project me and a fellow friend of mine, Matt Garish, worked and co-worked on. I came up with the idea. The initial plan was I was going to work on the story, and he was going to film and direct it on his end. He lives over in the East Coast of the U.S., and unfortunately, due to things getting in the way and that matter, he couldn't do it on his end, but he came up with some ideas for the story, and he sent it back to me, and I looked it over, and over time I got to working on it and looking at it. I said, you know what, I'm going to take this on myself. I'll direct it. And I used a lot of his scripts and my ideas and added a few new ideas to it, and we filmed it, started filming on it about a couple of years ago, actually 2 years ago this month. We had a little problems with editing and things of that nature, but I plan to release a new trailer for it very soon and hope to have it out by the summer.
Cool. We'll be sure to share that, definitely.
Definitely, man, definitely.
Yeah.
So, one thing that I did read, that this has been a project you've had in mind or on the burner for 10 years now.
Oh, longer than that, almost 20.
20 years, Jesus.
Wow.
So how does, having something like that going for 20 years, how much has it changed from the very first idea that you had?
Oh, it changed completely from night and day. When I first came up with this, I initially first came up with Mark the Wolf back in college, so this goes back about 20 years, for one scene assignment for one of my film classes, and my teacher told me, you write up a scene, said use a friend of yours and set up a scenario like that. And many were writing dramas and comedies and things of that nature, and I've always been a werewolf fan at heart, and it just popped into my head. I was like, why don't I write a werewolf story instead? And I used my best friend's name, and his name is Sam, and it's the same name that I've used throughout the whole, from then to now. And I just wrote the one scene, and I got an A on it, and most of the cases it was just we'll just let it go and move on to it. But the more I kept thinking about the scene, and so I was like, you know what, I want to do a story on it. So I wrote a short little thing during my off time in school, and it just grew and built from there. And the story evolved a lot since then. Before it was basically, when I first initially wrote it, it was about this guy coming to terms with it and confronting his dad, who is his real dad because he was adopted and things of that nature. And it came into that kind conflict. And since then, started to realize, let's try to make it more realistically. Let's try to make it something I can film, and it turned into something let's just have him he's in school, he's in college, and he's pretty much had nothing major happen, just a few odd incidents here and there, and then on his 18th birthday, it happens. He transforms for the first time, and his whole world is just turned upside down. And I like that concept a little bit more because it puts him in a totally new environment, a totally new plunge into a whole new world, and he has to realize what is happening to him, and he realizes there's more to this than just him being possessive of this curse, and it really worked a lot better to me, I think.
That sounds really cool, though. I like the idea of that, where it's just like you say, Mark. His whole world is turned upside down. I really like the idea of that. So
it tends to lend itself to that kind of story as well.
Yeah.
Sort of really gets you in.
So what is it then? What is it about werewolf stories that captivates you? And you've been a fan of sort of werewolf stories since you were a kid, haven't you?
Well, I just like the idea of seemingly normal men and women that can live normal lives, and then maybe once a month or 2 or 3 nights a month they change into this vicious, out of control beast, and can wreak all kinds of havoc, wreak all kinds of hell, and they change back the next day, and some are either guilt-ridden over what they've done, or some just relish it and used to take advantage of things of that nature. And always been fascinated by that, and the the transformation and tapping into the primal urge and into deep-rooted things that they might have kept bottled in, and maybe that once a night or whenever the full moon hits, it will come out and they can do whatever the heck they want.
I read the GoFundMe earlier on, and
Yes.
what was really, really interesting to me is that you don't want to use any CGI in the movie, that you want to use purely practical effects. So
Yeah.
I take it from that you're not a fan of sort of more recent horror movies or werewolf movies in particular that use a heavier CGI.
Right. To be honest, that's what kind of really propelled me into like wanting to do this as a movie, because at the time I was writing this, there was a big stretch of pretty bad werewolf movies where they devoted more of the money on CGI and not on any storyline at all. And I've seen films where some CGI works a little bit, but the idea of just seeing a computer-generated wolf tearing things out and killing people just didn't appeal to me at all. And also, it just you kind of lose the audience a little bit too, because you see them in the studio or in the set or anything like that as human beings, and then when you see the wolf come, it's like a video game atmosphere to me. It just takes away what I feel from what the story's about. And I think doing practical effects, and of course the first werewolf movie that I seen was American Werewolf of London.
Great film.
Just blew my mind away. So, and of course I've been a fan of some of the other. Actually, the very first one I saw was as a kid was the original Wolfman movie during the late night shows. And even then, using practical effects of just showing Lon Chaney Jr. becoming a wolf really showed me a lot and opened my eyes a lot. But of course, it was American Werewolf in London that blew me away and really made me a fan for life. So,
seems to be one of those things when you come to your monster movies and your creature movies that they never do, when they go CGI, they never do seem to get the werewolf right. It never quite looks right. And like you say, when you do it practical, like John Landis did back in the day, it totally worked and it looked great. So yeah, you're completely right there.
Right. And I mean, there's a time and place for some CGI things. I can admit, for some of the episodes I did for my web series, I had a friend of mine do a few CGI things, but it's mostly like changing the eye color, or maybe having like something like a creature in the background. So I think CGI can work to a certain point, but as far as like, actually showing it as a CGI werewolf or CGI transformation, that's a major turnoff for me.
Yeah, I have to agree there. They very rarely get it right, to be fair, when the CGI.
But it comes back to, we talk a lot on 365 about movies where like the less is more factor comes into play, where you don't need to see the whole.
No, you don't.
You don't need to see the entire transformation. It's about camera angles and lighting and practical effects being done right. So that's when that kind of thing comes into play, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
If done well, if done right, I mean, you can really get the audience's attention. And like I said, I'm just a low budget guy. I would love to have the money to do effects like American Werewolf London or Howling or anything like that. But if you pick the right person who knows what they're doing and is also a fan of the genre, as the people that I've worked with over the years putting this together you can do a great deal and really show a good enough transformation that will get the audience's attention.
So with all that in mind, there's obviously there's a big sort of CGI heavy universe getting built right now with the Universal Studios New Dark Universe. How do you feel about that, and what do you think about this going forward?
I'm a bit encouraged by it. I am intrigued of what they have planned, but I'm also a little more skeptical too, because I've seen many movies and story ideas where they have good intentions, but as it plays out, it doesn't work out. I'm intrigued to see what they do with it. I know The Mummy just came out, and a few of my friends like it, a few of my friends didn't. So I'm hopeful that they really take what they've done from what they've learned from the past, from the great legacy of the Universal movies, and really do it right. And of course, being a werewolf fan, I really hope they do the Wolfman movie right as well. Whoever they get for it and however it plays into this dark universe.
I think the last they were talking, there was The Rock was going to be playing the Wolfman.
Yeah.
which, as much as I love the guy, I'm not sure I see that one.
I'm with you. I just don't see him playing that. I mean, he can be great as a monster, but the main thing about the Wolfman is the human characteristics too. And and it's kind of hard for me to see him being believable as whatever character he's going to play as that. So I hope that's just a rumor. So, but,
I mean, The Rock is a very talented man, but with as you say, Mark, you need the actor to have a bit of, a bit of oomph about him, kind of thing, to use a British term. I don't know if you know that term, but you need the actor to have the sort of the ability to show that his entire, as you mentioned on the plot of the Mark of the Wolf, is this guy's life is being torn apart. He's he's turning into a wolf. So you need the guy who's going to be playing the human part of it to be able to do a proper bit of acting. But you never know. It's early days with the Dark Universe sort of concept. I think that as you say, the Mummy has been getting mixed reviews. We both kind of want to give it a try and see what the story is with it, but you never know. So on to Mark of the Wolf then. Let's talk about Mark of the Wolf.
Okay.
So you spoke about the premise of the movie that you want to make there. Now, what I did find interesting is that a couple of years ago now, you wrote and you directed Sam's Story, which acts as like a sequel to Mark of the Wolf. Is that right?
Yes.
So that's quite an interesting idea. So what was the idea behind sort of making the sequel first before making Mark of the Wolf?
Well, it goes back to meeting together with the guy that's playing Sam in Sam's Story. His name is Rob Fender. He's a good friend of mine, and we worked on a couple of projects before. Matter of fact, the Tetherball, I told you about at the beginning. That's how we met. Yeah. And when I first brought up the idea of having him being part of it, the initial plan was him being one of the stories for the web series. But the more I got to talking with him and the more I got to thinking about it, I said, well, why not have him be the lead for the movie? And I brought it up to his attention, and he's a huge fan of werewolves as well, and he always wanted to play a werewolf. And it just grew from there. So when we met and we started to get the things together, the initial idea was, well, why don't we do something? Why don't we test something out to, put things together to introduce you to the universe? And I came up with the concept of what would be known as Sam's Story, which is kind of a sequel in the sense that it takes place 2 years after the events of Mark of the Wolf. And this is him after being used to what his curse is and what he's done to him and how he deals with it in that sort of way. And it's just a little taste of what is to come. It's not like a full blown effort, but it's just a little sample into one night in his world where, okay, it's almost full moon. I have to lock myself and prepare myself for this, and it just went from there. And I was quite pleased with how it turned out. It worked out great. And it really got to show off Rob's chops in playing both the human side and the beast side, although we didn't want to give too much away because we wanted to tease it. So for when we do the actual movie, you get to see what he's actually like as a werewolf. So it worked out pretty well.
So is Sam's Story available to watch anywhere, or?
Yes, it is available on YouTube, and it's also available on the Mark of the Wolf website as well. It is markofthewolf.wix.com/home, and you go to there, you go on the movie link, and the movie is right there for you guys to see.
Sweet, I'm going to check that out.
Can you also find the web series that you made in the same place as well?
Yes, all the episodes, all the promos, which are like shorter versions, All the trailers, just about everything is on that site as well. You just go to that website, and there's a movie link. You can see the movie Sam Story, and you go to the web series link, and you'll see little windows of all the episodes that's done so far.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I am going to check out Sam's Story. I really like the idea. That I really like the concept.
Yeah,
of it.
it's interesting having a sequel before you've made the first one.
So is that something? Is when because you've got a completed script now, haven't you, for Mark of the Wolf?
Yes.
Yeah.
I worked on the latest draft of it recently. We added a few changes, and I gave it to Rob, my guy playing the lead. And the first thing he said to me is like, "Wow, I'm blown away by this. This is really good." And that really encourages me to know that if he likes it, and some other people that I sent scripts out to, I didn't send it out to a lot of people, but just a few that I trust that I know that will respect their opinion. If they liked it, then it tells me that yes, I'm on the right track, and this is definitely something that I want to film and want to get out there.
Sure.
Nice.
So when you were writing the script for Mark of the Wolf, was the fact that you'd already written a sequel was something that something that you had to bear in mind? Did you ever go, oh shit, I had to change that bit now?
Well, part of what Sam's story is not like conducive to, say, if you've seen Sam's story, then you won't know what's going on with Mark of the Wolf, the movie part. It's basically just taking a moment and from using his character down the road, and it's not connected to it in a way. It's just like, a day in the life, just like, this happened to Sam when he turned 18 for the movie, but this is Sam 2 years later, and this is just one night in his life.
Yeah, sure. So it wasn't like life events or anything like that. It was just like,
yeah.
You didn't have to go and sort of wipe the protocol droid's mind or anything like that. So we spoke about practical effects a few minutes ago. So with that in mind, when it comes to filming, hopefully very soon, filming Mark of the Wolf, are there any specific moments or any specific shots that you have in mind, practical effect wise, that you can tell us about?
Well, the one thing I wanted to do for the werewolf transformations is I've seen a lot of movies and TV shows, and it's always been pretty much fuel what I wanted to do as far as putting this together. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, like the traditional, he goes in front of the mirror and sees it happening. I wanted to start that and then change that around. And another thing I wanted to do was like show, there's parts where you can see every part of his body changing. Like you can see his hands changing. You can see his feet growing out and changing. His body growing in mass and size, that sort of thing. So, and it's the type of thing that being a werewolf fan is like I haven't seen enough in werewolf films that I want to see in this. So that's basically how I saw things going, what I wanted to do with the practical effect. So
the reason that we got you on to talk about Mark of the Wolf and to try and pimp things out a little bit is that you have a GoFundMe page right now to try and raise some funds, obviously, for the movie, which is, for anyone out there, is a crowdfunding campaign. It's sort of like Kickstarter, but GoFundMe, just another way to give money to independent creators, which is why we do Indie Talk, is to try and get that out there. Can you tell people how they can find your GoFundMe page?
Yes, you go to GoFundMe.com/Mark of the Wolf, and it tells you the bit of the story, but what's it all about, a little bit, and hopefully on there you'll get to see videos from me and the actors that are involved in it. And basically what we want to raise is enough, and the majority of it is going to go to help fuel the practical effects.
Yeah.
I have a person that's doing that. He's an award-winning makeup effects guy who's done a few of the episodes for my web series, and cool. He is also a huge werewolf fan. And we've been talking off and on about the ideas, and he's got a ton of ideas that he wants to put together, and he's taken what I've given him, and we really want to do it right. We really wanted to do it practical, and while keeping in mind what the whole story is about. And that's what we really want to do. We want to do with that. We want to raise funds for the practical effects. We want to raise funds to get the equipment, get it shot right, get it set right, help with the cast and crew, help feed the cast and crew. And also, once it's done and out there, we want to submit it to film festivals around the world, see how it goes and how it grows from there. So, like I said, we're really, really close to getting it together. We got the script done. We got some of the people on board to act in it. We hope to have a big casting call next month, get locations set, and if we have all that together on top of the money that we raised for the GoFundMe page, then by the time we hopefully start shooting, which will be later on in the summer, we will have enough ready to go and hopefully get it done.
Awesome, good stuff.
One thing that I always ask the people on who have these crowdfunding campaigns, because we hear it a lot, is how much of a pain in the arse has this been for you?
It's been an education. I tried it once before to get a few funds raised, and we raised a few, not enough to actually get the actual movie going, but we did raise enough to get a few equipment things, a few makeup things to do for a few episodes and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been an education. But I'm learning a lot about it, and it is tough. I've learned, and from some of my friends have told me, you just got to keep plugging at it, keep getting it out there. And using vehicles like your podcast and stuff like that is a good start to hopefully get people's attention, and even chip in, $5, $10, whatever, to help go towards it. It would be great.
Yeah, it's just every time we talk about these Kickstarters and these GoFundMes, it's like that's what you get. It's that's a very diplomatic way of saying it.
Well, the first part of the response is normally,
So obviously with these things you get perks when you donate, and this is something that can usually get people in to chipping in some dollars and chipping in some money to get the movie made. So what can you tell us about some of the perks that you have involved in the GoFundMe?
Well, one of the things I want to do, especially for those that want to contribute like $25 or so, is you actually get a limited edition copy of the movie when it's done, which is always a treat, and whatever GoFundMe or Indiego, whatever campaigns that I contributed into, it's always cool to you get actual movie, and you get to see what they put into it, and you also get your name in the credits, get your name on the sites to say, hey, thank you for being a part of it, and this is my little gift to you. You're a part of it. You can get to see your name in the credits and that sort of thing. And it's always kind of cool for even if you chipped in a little bit, to know that, hey, you helped put this together, so I'm going to recognize you for helping put this together.
It is pretty cool when you get those things. I mean, I've backed a few Kickstarter campaigns. I kind of wish I never started, to be honest.
It's like Pringles once you pop.
But you do get some pretty badass perks, and something like that, getting an actual physical copy of the movie would be awesome. So that's a good perk.
Yeah. I love the idea of this movie, Mark, where it's the practical effects part. For me, it just,
you're sold on that, aren't you?
I absolutely sold on that. Yeah, because I'm completely with you. Like the overuse of CGI in horror movies in particular. Mm-hmm. Like you've got your big Marvel movies and DC movies and all that, where they're CGI heavy. What are you going to do? But with horror movies, you expect them to sort of put the effort in. I know it costs more, but I think the movie stands up more over time.
Yeah, it's Dog Soldiers is one of my favourites.
Yes, yeah. Have you ever seen Dog Soldiers?
Yes, I have.
Of course, you've seen Dog Soldiers.
I like the not only the story for it, but also the way they use the effects for it as well. So
it's another one of those less is more, hidden in the shadows until sort of the last 20 minutes when you see a bit more of them. But I just love Dog Soldiers. It's a great film.
Yes.
So when you're hopefully very soon going to be making the movie, when you're directing your movies and your short films and what have you, do you use any director or movie kind of thing as or movie making style as inspiration?
Truthfully, no. I just basically go from what I see in my head as I'm writing out. Because usually the way I write scripts is, I just write how I visualize it in my mind of how I see the scene coming together. And then as we get, to the set or the location where we're filming it, we kind of adjust and see how things go from there. And we build off it like that. It depends on what films I've seen. I've seen, countless directors and countless other things, and it's great to emulate their styles. But I think the best course of action is go with what you know, go with how you see it coming together, and just work with it from there.
Yeah, there's a very fine line between like paying homage and then straight up ripping them off. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, absolute best of luck with this movie, Mark. Tell everybody again. Where can people find, where can they find out about the movie? Just let us know the website and where they can find you on social media and what have you.
Yes, our website is markofthewolf.wix.com/home, and it has everything you need to know about the web series, which is online on YouTube and Vimeo. A few episodes are on there, but all the episodes are on that site. All the trailers, all the promos are on that site. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com Mark of the Wolf series. We're on Twitter. The hashtag is MOTW series, and you can go on there. We plan to have pictures and things of that nature and all kinds of stuff for not only the movie but the episodes that we have in the works as well. And GoFundMe.com/Mark of the Wolf, all one word. It tells you everything you need to know about the movie project, what we're looking for, what we hope to raise. I plan to have videos of myself and some of the actors talking about that too. And the good thing about GoFundMe is it's no limit, so you can keep going and donating after the fact. So, and whatever little bit can help, $10. I figure 250 people contribute $10. That, boom, we reached our goal. So
absolutely.
That's what we're hoping for, and to get it out there. And we're not asking for a big mega $1 million project. We just have a nice simple story, a story that's not unlike what's been done in werewolf movies before, with a person dealing with the curse and how he reacts to it, not like what we've seen in movies before, and using practical effects. And being the werewolf fan that I am, I got idea for transformations and reversions and all kinds of good stuff. And it's something that if you, as a werewolf fan, want to see come together, then come to the site, GoFundMe.com/Mark of the Wolf. Help put this project together. Help us get this project going.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I mean, one of the things that really drew us to getting in touch with you is, for me, it was the fact that it's a passion project. Like you say, 20 years, and that's got me now thinking. So you've been working on this for 20 years now. You've got a completed script and everything. Is there a sequel or a franchise or anything in mind?
Well, I don't want to give anything away, but if this movie gets together and it gets off the ground, there are threads there once the movie's done that could lead to a sequel, that could lead to more stories down the line, but I'll just leave it at that.
So we could be looking at the new Howland franchise.
So basically, spoilers. But that's really cool of you coming on to have a chat with us, man. Mark. That's been really good. Any werewolf fans out there, we want you to go to GoFundMe, look for Mark of the Wolf, get involved. This is going to be a cracking project.
Yeah, man. I'm going to keep an eye on this one.
Thank you very much for taking the time to come on and have a chat with us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for calling me out, and you're part of your show, your podcast has been great, and hopefully this will be a good thing for you guys, and best of luck with you and the rest of your series.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much.
We'll push it forward once it comes out, and we'll keep plugging it. And then I get very plug heavy, so you'll probably see you'll see a lot of it going around. So yeah, man, this has been great. This has been fantastic.
Right, thank you, guys.
Cool. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Astro Radio Z is a horror, cult, exploitation film podcast hosted by me, Derek Carey. I was one of those monster kids growing up. The one that used to sit in the back end of that video store and scour over every single last film cover you saw back there, from the slashers to the monsters to the sleazy stuff. Yeah, I was freaking obsessed. And I still am. So much so I became a filmmaker myself. Now I bring on all my filmmaker friends, critics, musicians, and any other fans of the dark arts, which are horror, exploitation, and cult film. Are you one of these people? Then tune in and listen to my show, Astro Radio Z.
So that was Mark.
That was Mark.
Yeah, we had a good crack speaking to him. Mark, we apologise wholeheartedly for taking so long to get the episode out. As I said to you on, as I said to Mark on the Facebook Messenger, it's just we've been a little bit busy over the last.
We have, and I fully dropped the ball on that one because as everybody knows, I'm the one that does all the work. Chris just kind of turns up to talk. So
exactly.
yeah,
So I didn't want to be a complete arsehole and say, "Come on, Kev, get your fucking game together." But I was saving that for the plane when you couldn't hit me. So. But thank you very much, Mark, for coming on 365. We had a blast talking to you about your werewolves. We can't wait to see what you're going to do with this movie, man. Yeah,
and keep it all practical. Just keep it all practical. That's what he's all about. That you hear in the interview, it's what he's all about. Just keep it that way, man, because it sounds like it's going to be interesting as hell, and a bit of a callback to American Werewolf, which is never a bad thing.
Definitely not.
Never.
Definitely not.
So with that, will we just close out the episode?
Boosh.
Yeah. Bye.